So a warm welcome to you all on this miserable wet Friday. And at the end of our brilliant week, we've had inspirational talks. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Juliet, the founder of 2 to 3 Days. And today I am super excited to hand you over to Katie Skrine for the next 45 minutes, because Katie is a very good friend of mine. And it's not because she's here today because she's a very good friend of mine, but because she is absolutely brilliant when it comes to women's health, whether that is your physical health, your nutritional health, your mental well-being, how to sleep better. She's just fabulous. And she's also the mother of 2 boys who are 16-year-olds. And so she knows what it's like to look after 2 pesky 16-year-old boys and all the challenges that brings. But most and foremost, she is absolutely brilliant when it comes to women's health and how to optimize our well-being. So I'm going to hand you over to Katie, and what we would love today is it to be an interactional conversation. So please put your comments in the chat box or wave a hand, and Katie and I will come to your calls, because the more we interact, the more we ask Katie stuff, the more we'll all walk away in 45 minutes feeling far more inspired about what we need to do to feel fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And for those of you watching this on record, and for those of you who are live, thank you so much for joining and watching, because it really does mean so much to us that we can share this message. You know, it's been a really amazing week. I've been involved in a few events to do with International Women's Day week, and it's just really nice to sort of feel that focus. I think that's what I don't want to put a feminist hat on. I want to think about us focusing on ourselves, which I don't know about you, but I don't do that enough, and I know how to do that. So I think it's all about just thinking about us taking a moment just to step back and think about how we can look after ourselves. So as Juliet said, I am I absolutely love women's health and helping women become the best version of themselves. Now, that might be through nutrition, it might be through movement, it might be through just making tweaks to your lifestyle. But I'm really passionate about taking my clients on board and just helping them focus on themselves, reset their bodies in whatever way it might be, and helping them thrive. And it is easier said than done, I know, but it is actually quite easy to do once you take that time out. I am a nutritional therapist, so I specialize in food, you know, the foods we eat, so that we balance our body holistically. And also I've been a personal trainer for a long time. So I love movement. I love the power of exercise, but I also help people with lots of different lifestyle things. So I hope today it is literally going to be a bit of a general message to you, but I hope you will take away some key points. And I really hope you'll take away the message that is, we need to take time for ourselves. We need to focus on ourselves, because if we don't focus on ourselves, we will never become that person we want to come. You know, we'll always say, oh, well, I'll do that next year. I'll do that next year. Next year, I'll think about that. Today, I want you to take away that focus so that you can go away and think about yourself. So if you've been meaning to do something, you know your diet is not quite as optimal as you want it to be, or you've been meaning to go to that class or walk more or whatever it might be, today is the day I want you to think about you and do something about it. So I'm going to just talk about 5 key things that are really important for us as women as our bodies start to mature, as life gets a little bit more complicated. And I hope you will find it interesting and useful. But also, please, I love questions. If I can't answer something today, I will definitely come back to you. So please use me, Juliet, you know, for this little session. And if you're watching this on record, you can get in contact as well. So thank you so much. Now I'm using this. I don't know how I can move. Oh, there we go. So I wanted to start off by saying, midlife, for me, midlife is anything from sort of mid-30s onwards. And I think it's really key for us to recognize whether or not our bodies are physically changing, or whether or not it's life stress, or in actual fact, is it a complete combination of both? And sometimes we don't know our where we're at or what's going on, and we can feel pretty overwhelmed. I'll try not to swear, but we can feel pretty overwhelmed, can't we? One day we're sort of raged with hormones, next day we've been thrown a curveball by something, by a child, by a partner, by work, whatever it might be. And I think we need to recognize that we're going to have a bit of both going on, and that's okay. And I have that, you'll have that. Juliet, I know we've talked about all sorts of things like this before, and I think it's really important to say, I have a little few problems, or I have a little few things going on, and that is just life. And I think coming back to my first point, as long as you recognize what's going on and you give yourself a bit of a break, I think that will give you the strength to be able to deal with it. It's when you start to put plasters on things and you don't deal with things, that's when it gets really quite hardcore. And I think that's when issues become a little bit more intense. So I think let's recognize, as women, we're dealt the hormone change card, and we're dealt the juggle everything card. So it's, our bodies change, life gets more intense. It can be a wonderful thing, life, obviously, but it can be pretty hardcore for us as women. So I just wanted to make that as our first point. We go through changes, and that's gonna put pressure on us. So it's even more important that we actually focus on our bodies, on ourselves, and just taking some time out. So in terms of how can we deal with this? What can we do to support our bodies when we've got all these things being thrown our way, or we're things start to change? For me, and having worked with a lot of women, I believe we need to do it sort of on a holistic basis. And I haven't put anything in here about supplements or hormonal support or anything like that. I'm keeping it. These are all things that you can do and things that you can integrate into your life. But the most important thing that we must focus on, and it's not just about how we look or how we sleep or how we run or walk or whatever, it's about our health and well-being. And that core thing, if you take health out of that, we don't have anything else. Our health and our well-being, our mind, the way we feel, the way our bodies operate, the way they thrive, health and well-being is so important. And I think when you're younger, you just take that for granted. But as you start to mature and your bodies start to change and life can become a little bit more complicated or challenging, or I don't know, a combination of everything, we need to focus on our health and our well-being. And we can do that through nutrition, through a bit of self-care, through managing our stress levels, through integrating some key movement. And I don't mean suddenly becoming an athlete, some of us that just won't work, but just doing some things that we love. And also sleep. The power of sleep is so important, and I speak to a lot of women who struggle with their sleep. So by focusing on these 5 key areas, we can really do a lot to support our health and our well-being. And so I want to take one of these sort of pillars, one of these steps, one by one, and just talk to you about what my key things would be. Of course, it's really important to recognize that no one body is the same. So what I'm telling you today is quite general. If I was working with somebody on a one-on-one basis, it might be that we need to look at things and tweak things differently, but no one body is the same. There's no such thing as perfection. And it's all about that keyword balance. It's getting that balance, getting that foundation, getting to the point where you think, do you know what, I've got this foundation, I've got this baseline in my life that I know that if I go over it a little bit, I come back to it. If I dip down, I come back to it. And it's these 5 key pillars create this sort of foundation, this baseline. Juliet,
Lucy, we've had a question. Is your slide deck moving, or are we still on the same slide?
We're still on the same side.
Okay.
Oh, hang on.
It seems to be on questions.
Yeah.
Are we on hormonal changes?
No, we haven't moved yet.
Oh.
We're still on the same slide.
Right, that's annoying, isn't it? Hang on. Okay.
Oh, well done, whoever.
Has it changed?
Jessica, thanks. Yes, we're now on hormonal changes and life stress.
Maybe I need to do it. I don't know. Why is that like that? Can you see this slide? This
hormonal changes and life stress we're on.
No, we're not. I've moved on.
There's an arrow bottom left-hand corner. It says the second of 10 slides. I can't move it because you've got control of the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. Are we on a circle now?
No, we haven't moved from hormones.
I don't know why that's happening. Okay, what I might need to do is just do it a bit more manually. If you could just hold on. That is very annoying.
Don't worry. I
don't know why. I am going to.
But God, you don't, yeah.
Keep talking amongst, think of some questions to ask me.
I'll share, I'm 54 and my body shape, I thought I was through the menopause, but jeepers, the way I have felt this week, my stomach feels like it's got a balloon inside it. Can't get it in my jeans. And all I do is I'm exercising and I eat healthily all the time. So
can you see this different slide now?
We now got, it's just gone dark.
Why doesn't it work? This is technology for you. I'm very good at helping women.
5 steps.
So I'm not going to do it as a presentation because some reason that doesn't work. I'm just going to do it manually. So can you see the circle I'm now talking about?
Yeah.
So now it should now make sense. So we've got that health in the middle and we've got these 5 key areas that we need to focus on. And as I've just talked about, but it is for me, it's about balance, not perfection. And what I'm going to do is just talk to you about my top tips for each of these. But of course, this is a snapshot. I could talk to you for hours on each one, but I just want you to take away some key things that I feel are really important for us as women, and they're really doable. So everything I do is realistic. It's all about how we can integrate quick wins, because we all love a quick win, don't we? It's I think anything over too complicated and then it can become counterproductive. So can you see nutrition now?
Yeah.
So nutrition is such a big conversation, and as I said, each of these key areas, there's so much overwhelm and so much noise about what we should be eating, what we should not be eating. Everyone's got a new gimmick, everyone's got a new thing, you've got to be doing this. And often women come to me and they're just like, I don't even know where to start. I've tried the fasting, I've tried the keto, I've tried skipping this and no carbs and I just say stop. Okay, food should be celebrated. Women eat when they're stressed, they eat when they're sad, they eat when they're happy, they eat to celebrate, they eat, we're the world's best sabotagers of and we use food to do that. And then if we have a bad week, month or whatever, we just press the fuck it button. I hope you don't mind me saying that. And once we press that button, we can't bring it back. So nutrition should be simple. We should enjoy our food. We should make it simple, but we should also be just thinking of those key things that help to balance our body. Because again, as I said to you before, the hormones changing, the life challenges changing, the busy days, you might be running around after young children, you might be running around after older children, you might be dealing with all sorts of different things. And it's key to making sure you get those key, what I call my key food principles, my non-negotiables, really will help support your body. And for me, this is what really works. I have been that person that I've tried every diet under the sun. I've been skinny, I've been bigger, I've done the whole yo-yo thing. But now what I love most is that when my body doesn't feel bloated and it doesn't feel when I put my jeans on I come back to that baseline. I was talking about that baseline. So I have my non-negotiables. And for me, if I was to skip a meal because of my hormones, because I'm perimenopausal, and because because I exercise, because of the way my body works. If I skip a meal, I go off and my blood sugar levels are affected and I just don't feel right. So for me, it's that prioritizing those 3 meals a day without snacking. And I think the whole snacking thing is such a habitual sort of thing. You know, back when my granny was alive, she never used to snack on anything, and she used to prioritize those 3 meals a day, and she did never, you know, she was so balanced. And I think we're a bit of a snacking picking culture, and I think there's so much available for us now, and be it, you know, picking up whatever your kids haven't eaten, or just grabbing things because we need that quick hit. Prioritizing your 3 meals a day sounds so simple, but do you actually do that? And if you do that, you should feel pretty balanced. You know, it's going to support your hormones. It's going to help keep you stable throughout the day. As soon as you're into that meal snacking or over snacking territory, it can play havoc with your hormones, your mood, your energy levels, all sorts of things. So for me, my first non-negotiable is that 3 meals a day. And it's amazing how many women don't actually do that. And they think that if they're on a mission, they'll just skip, and then they'll crash, and then they won't sleep that night, and then they'll have hormonal PMT, you know. And so it's really key that you start with that one non-negotiable, no snacking whatsoever. The next thing is whole foods. What do I mean by whole foods? Whole foods are real food. Anything that comes out of a packet with an ingredient on that you don't know what that ingredient is, I would probably say avoid it. Because even these healthy snack bars, these healthy drinks, these whatever, they're pumped full of all sorts of stuff that our bodies are just not designed to digest or process. And again, it can affect our hormonal balance. It can affect our energy. It can affect our mood. It can affect the way we perform. So it's going back to eating real foods. I want you to think about cutting out sugar. I mean, we know about the danger and the addiction of sugar. So where you can, avoid sugar. I know it's impossible to cut it out completely, and actually I think it's a bit unrealistic.
When you're talking about cutting out sugar, what about fruit? Because that has
yeah, I think that's a really good question, Juliet. I think fruit is obviously a really healthy option. It's a real food, and I would always prioritize that over having something that is a bar of processed sugar. So it's a real sugar. Fruit can be a couple of things on fruit. One, it can send your blood sugar spikes quite high and then leave you with that dip. So certain fruits I would avoid if you are somebody that suffers with sugar imbalance. And what I mean by that is if you're somebody who gets a bit jittery, who, you know, you mid-morning, you're getting a little bit jittery. So if you've had a big bowl of fruit for breakfast, and then by mid-morning, you've got the shakes and you're feeling a little bit brain foggy and a bit sort of anxious almost, that I would avoid having fruit on its own, and I would have it with some good fats. So some full fat Greek yogurt, maybe a little teaspoon of nut butter and some seeds and nuts or something, because that helps the blood sugar balance when it comes to fruit. Other people with fruit, a lot of people I speak to eat fruit after a meal, and they become very bloated because fruit is full of fiber, and sometimes it can sit on top of whatever we've eaten, and then it can ferment and it can cause that bloating, it can cause gassiness. So I would always avoid having fruit in the afternoon and after a big meal. The best fruit really is things like your berries, which are full of antioxidants, having those with your breakfast or something. Citrus fruits can be pretty good. Kiwi fruits are full of vitamin C, and apples are amazing because they contain something that our digestive system loves. But trying to eat fruit in isolation would be my biggest tip. Don't avoid it completely, but I wouldn't say, again, I wouldn't just be loading up on fruit, because there is some natural sugars in fruit. So it depends. Again, if your goal is weight loss, don't eat loads of fruit and have some berries with your breakfast. You know, that would be if you suffer from really bad bloating and you're having a bowl of strawberries, for your pudding in the evening, ditch that, you know. So it depends. This is why, you know, every body is different. I tend to have berries in the morning because I know they are really full of those antioxidants and great for a fiber boost as well. So yeah, anything with sugar, as in an added sugar, we should be ditching that as much as we possibly can. Now look, everyone is going to have that moment where they just think, oh God, you know, they're in a situation, there's something delicious, have it, but then don't let it be something that creates a bad habit or sabotage, you know. So we've all been in a situation where we've, I don't know, eaten too many cakes or biscuits or chocolates, and we've just gone, oh my God, sod it, I'll start next week. And that's the sort of thing, you know, if you have something, enjoy it, celebrate it, and move on. You know, if you're somebody that's having milk chocolate or processed biscuits and cakes every single day, you wonder why you can't lose weight, you've got energy issues, you're suffering with bloatedness, that would be the thing I'd take out first. So avoiding that added sugar.
But if you wanted to have a bit of sugar, is it okay to have the sort of the 70-80% of dark chocolate?
70, absolutely. So dark chocolate actually is good for us. It contains antioxidants. So this is where it's sort of like, oh my God, there's such an overwhelm. Should we be having this? Dark chocolate doesn't contain as much sugar or dairy, basically. It's, you know, it's much more pure cacao as opposed to something like a bar of Cadbury's milk chocolate, which has got loads of additives, loads of sugar and loads of dairy in it. So dark chocolate, absolutely. The only thing, again, are you good at having 1 or 2 squares of dark chocolate? I can't do that. I would probably end up eating the whole bar. So I just choose not to. And then if I do have chocolate, I might eat the whole bar, and I have that once in a blue moon. That's okay. That I don't have a problem with that. Again, it depends what your goals are. It depends how your body's functioning, where you're at. But of course, if you are somebody that really just needs that little something, or you could make yourself some you know, bars or sort of oat-based biscuity style things, but using whole foods, not using fake ingredients. And so if you're somebody, you know, these protein balls, I would never buy a protein ball. Make your own, because you know where the ingredients are coming from. So it's not that I'm saying don't ever have sugar, just avoid the processed, sugary, salty, ingredient loaded foods that just don't serve our body well at all. And we know that. But we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for balance. So if you could do 80% of the time without those processed, sugary, salty foods, then I'd say that's a big win. The other thing that I'm really passionate about, especially with women, and especially as our bodies are maturing, is protein. And I don't mean eating stacks of chicken breasts or stacks of tins of tuna. I mean protein that is going to help with hormone synthesis, with muscle maintenance, and most importantly, protein it prevents you from craving. It keeps you fuller for longer. It keeps your body balanced. And my goal would be, with any woman I work with on an individual group level, would be to make sure you have protein with every meal. Now, it is easier said than done. You don't have to be eating lots of meat. As I said, you could be adding lentils, you could be adding chickpeas, you can be having your Greek yogurt in the morning, your eggs, you could be having some fish or prawns, or quinoa is protein rich. So it's just making sure you've got that protein so that your body is balanced. And that has been the biggest game changer for me. If I didn't have my protein with every meal, again, my blood sugar levels would be all over the shop. I'd be craving something. I'd be hungry. I'd be wanting to pick or snack. Protein is so important. And if I'm for the nutrition side of things, you know, it's, you know, it's one of the most important things. Yeah.
You know, what are the other proteins that aren't so obvious that I think most people know? I'm assuming that protein comes from meat.
Yeah, so and also there's plant sources as well, absolutely. So your chickpeas, your lentils, legumes, so your, you know, pulses, quinoa, Greek yogurt is absolutely wonderful, full fat Greek yogurt. You've got your eggs, your tofu, you've got, well, obviously fish and prawns and things like that. So yes, there's a variety of ways that you can boost your protein levels. The next thing is fiber, and we all know that fiber helps our gut. Our gut is so important for women, you know, we need our gut to be thriving. And there's a lot of talk about gut health at the moment. And it is, you know, it's what 80% of our serotonin, so our happy hormone, is found in the gut. 80 to 90% of our immune system, our immunity is in the gut. So our gut health is so important. We need to be, you know, that gut motility, that making sure everything is functioning without getting into too much detail, but making sure everything is functioning well in our gut is essential. And by having a good daily intake of fiber is going to be essential for that gut health. If you're not having, you know, fiber obviously, whole grains are full of fiber. Cruciferous vegetables, so your broccolis, your cauliflowers, things like that. Your legumes, so your pulses, and seeds also full of fiber. Raspberries, kiwi fruits, full of fiber. So we need to be flushing our bodies and making sure our gut is thriving. And, you know, something really simple, hydration. How many of us actually drink 2 liters of filtered water a day? You can include, because everyone takes a sip of their drink, you can include herbal teas. I don't really advise the sweet herbal teas, so more like the lemon and ginger, turmeric style, but they contribute to your sort of target. But if you're hydrated, you don't suffer from that. You can, if you're somebody that suffers from brain fog or a bit of anxiety, or you get that dip in energy in the afternoon, it often can be attributed to lack of fluid, you know. And also, if you're not hydrated, your gut won't work, you know. Your gut will shut down. So we do need to stay hydrated. It's so obvious, but we really do need to keep our bodies thriving and keep them alert. You know, look at a plant. If you don't water a plant, it shrivels up. So we need to focus on hydration.
And if you have a glass of, and is the hydration purely the 2 liters of water? You can't sort of have a cup of tea and that means you can drink 1.5 liters of water.
No, I mean, look, as I said, herbal teas, your green tea, I know you're a big drinker of green tea, that would contribute, absolutely. And in actual fact, our bodies love warm water. I'm not suggesting you should just go and have a cup of warm water, because it's not actually that satisfying, but, you know, warm, not boiling hot. I mean, you know, just like a sort of drinking temperature, your gut loves that. It will. I love the fact everyone's having a glass of water now. Yes. So, but having a caffeine drink, that can have the opposite effect. So if, you know, oh, I drink 10 cups of coffee a day, I'm totally covered. That's just going to zap you. I mean, I haven't actually put on there about caffeine, but that's another big thing. Anyone who suffers from anxiety, that brain fog, sleep issues, you know, we need to look at whether or not you're consuming a lot of caffeine, especially in the afternoon.
Katie, we've had a question from Luciana about soy and its benefits to women in the menopause, because apparently Asian women do not experience menopause symptoms as badly as Western women because they have more soy in their diet.
Okay, interesting. I think, look, soy is absolutely, there was a real myth around soy being quite having a negative impact. Soy is absolutely, you know, have it, you know, take it on board. It's a great thing to get on board.
Through
tofu, edamame beans, I guess, some, yeah, you know, soy sauce. I think soy is, if you are somebody who has any gut issues, I might be inclined to monitor that, but you know, I don't have a problem with it. I don't consume it that much, but I know a lot of people who are either vegan or vegetarian who do.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just saying, is there any other? I'm very no. I'm just looking at the questions actually, whilst we'll just pause before we go into the next thing. How do we eat seasonal food in a cost-effective way? Yeah, do you know what? It's a really good question. And I think, that the whole thing about eating seasonally and cost effectively is huge at the moment. If you are working to a budget, I don't know if you go to places like Aldi or Lidl, they actually have some amazing products. So locally sourced products. Some of their meats, some of their veggies, they come from amazing UK-based farms, and it's you've got to go and do a little bit of research. I mean, it's really hard. I think also, tell you what, a few of my clients, they get these wonky box, I think it's called, is it wonky fruit, wonky boxes? And so basically they're going to direct to source almost, and they're getting wonky fruit and veg. And it's a really great way, because carrots don't actually come out of the ground perfectly if you grow them yourself. So we believe that fruit and veg should look perfect, when in actual fact, obviously it shouldn't. So maybe that might be supporting local fruit and veg stalls, maybe. I don't know. It's difficult to know where it comes from, but I think you have to do, depending on where you live, you have to do a bit of research on that. But I shop around, I go everywhere for things, because I work with a budget myself, and I make sure that I buy, I go to Aldi for all my seeds and nuts, and they do some amazing, as I said, I think their steaks are grass-fed meat, which is what we should be aiming for. So there's loads of places you can go. Don't just sort of go to your local supermarket. Take a little bit of time out. Berries as a snack is absolutely fine. As I said, I'm not a big fan of snacking. Do you need that snack? If the whole snacking thing is quite a big subject, and I'm not going to say to anyone don't have a snack, but if you're needing a snack, are you eating enough for your breakfast, lunch, and evening meal? Are you getting that fiber? Are you getting that protein? Are you having those good fats? Because if you incorporate all those nutrients, you probably won't need to snack. I'm going to carry on. I could talk about this forever, and I thought to myself, oh my God, 5 key points for nutrition. Almost impossible. If you have any more questions, as I said, I'm happy to talk about. Those are the key points. They're not by any means the only points. Okay, another massive area of passion of mine is movement, and I specifically put in there movement, because if I put on the top of that little title, exercise, some people clam up because they're just not exercisers, and that's okay. I think my key points here are that we should be moving every day. If you're stuck at a desk, if you work from home, if you have got young children racing around and you just don't have any, we've got to be moving, and moving every day doesn't need to be complex. There's free workouts online. There's a pair of trainers probably somewhere buried in a pile that you could pop on and do a power walk. Move your body. Some people are exercise freaks, but even just gardening, even things like just going for a walk with a friend, swimming, a yoga class, as I said, online workouts, or going, if you're part of a gym or you're part of a sort of little studio or something, make sure you move every single day. Prioritize that, because when have you ever come back from a walk or a workout or a moment being outside and come back and said, oh, I really wish I hadn't done that? You always come back better. You always come back with those endorphins and that feel good. And also it takes you out of that bubble. It takes you out of those microscopic thoughts, and it gives you some perspectives. Exercise for me is therapy. It brings us alive. Find something you love, because once you find something you love, you will then keep doing it. If you are forcing yourself to do something, you're probably not going to do it forever. So find something you love. Doesn't have to be a traditional exercise class. It can be something else. As our bodies start to mature, weight-bearing exercises and also a bit of weighted exercise is really important to build that bone density, to create, maintain that muscle mass, because bones and muscles deteriorate for age, for women specifically, when our hormones start to deplete. Set yourself a target as well. Maybe it's in 6 months' time, you want to go and do blah, or even just on a daily basis, I'm going to do 8,000, 10,000 steps per day, non-negotiable, and you make it happen. And actually having that little target and having that little goal, it makes it doable, and it makes you do it, quite frankly. So make sure you find something you love, you move your body, you will never regret it. And it has so many therapeutic benefits.
Before we move on, we've had a
Yeah.
question. Do you think intermittent fasting is good for us?
Oh God, this is such a massive topic. And I will do a very quick answer on this. I personally, and having spoken to a lot of nutritional therapists and done a lot of reading on it, I think we should all be doing a 12-hour fast every night. And the reason why it's doable, the other reason why is it's sustainable. Everyone can stop eating at, say, 7, 8 o'clock at night and then not eat until the next morning, 7, 8 o'clock. And the health benefits, your body loves to digest food. Your gut goes into repair. Your body goes into repair when you're not taking on loads. That's why I'm not a big fan of snacking, because if you're constantly snacking, your body can't repair. It can't sort of recover from that big meal or whatever you've put your body under. So I believe that we should all be doing a 12-hour fast. A lot of people, and men actually especially, a lot of people are looking at the sort of bigger fast. So the 16-8, isn't it? So it's 16 hours of fasting, 8-hour window of eating. Now that is fine. And there are so many health benefits. You know, if you were to Google that, there are so many health reports. Again, your body loves that break, and there's long-term health benefits for that. But I wouldn't recommend doing it if you've got blood sugar imbalances, if you're going through real hormonal changes, if you're somebody that sees stars, that can't quite cope with that, and you're forcing your body to go under that long period of fasting. It works for some people, it doesn't work for other people. It has massive health benefits. I can't say give it a go without knowing your sort of your health history, but I definitely think the 12-hour fast is absolutely key. The other thing I will say, and I was speaking to some people on an airplane coming back last week, and they said, we're doing this fasting, and I said, oh, brilliant. So what do you have when you wake up in the morning? And the lady said, well, I have one of these cappuccinos out of a packet, and with loads of milk and loads. And I thought, well, she's having something processed with probably sugar and additives in it, and she's having a whole mug of milk, which is basically a meal. So bless them, they'd been doing this fasting for the last 6 months, hadn't lost a jot of weight, and they'd actually been having a meal when they thought they hadn't. So you break a fast with any form of food, be it liquid, or you keep that fast. Water, black tea, black coffee is okay.
Okay. Thank you, Katie. That's really helpful.
I'm going to just literally, these are the next 3 things are sort of almost merged into 3, but I'm just going to take a little bit of time just to mention self-care. And again, that comes back to that very first point I made. You can't achieve good nutrition or movement or health or well-being if you don't look after yourself, if you don't prioritize yourself. Small steps matter. So even if you're saying today or this week, this month, this year, I'm going to make sure I read a book, I listen to a podcast, I go for a walk, I have a hot bath every night, and I shut the door and I don't let anyone in. Just make sure you take some time out for you. Get that perspective. Take time out from whatever it is, the noise of life, and do it guilt-free, because we do only get one chance. Life goes so quickly, and we are thrown so many different curveballs and so many challenges, but life is amazing as well. And I want everyone to love it and have a great time. And if you just put a little bit of self-care, Juliet and I were just talking before this session started about shopping. We both love shopping. If that's something that puts a smile on your face, do it, and do it without any guilt. And that takes me nicely on to stress management, because, again, another huge topic, but it's just identifying your triggers, making sure there's some balance, and talk. Don't be alone, because if you try and tackle these problems, these stressy things in our heads, or things that bother us, if you try and deal with that alone, it can actually make things a lot worse. Make sure, and also, can I just point out, the grass isn't always greener, and we know that, but I'm the world's worst person. I think everyone has this perfect little bubbly life, but nobody does. And whatever my challenges are might not be your challenges, but we will all look at each other with a little bit of green eye, and just remember, focus on yourselves, focus on the good in our lives, because we all have some amazing things going on. And if you are under a lot of stress, you're suffering with anxiety, and I get that is really hard, make sure you're not alone. Maybe take some time out. The Calm app is amazing, or even just listening to a podcast. I find that really, really takes me to another world and just takes my mind off things. But making sure you don't leave any niggles untouched, deal with it, focus on yourself, and make sure you identify what it is. And you might need to write things down. You might need to focus on your sleep a bit more, which brings me on to sleep. Sleep, again, is a massive thing. A lot of women, when they're going through particularly perimenopause, menopause, and perimenopause can obviously start late 30s. So, it affects so many women. It can affect our sleep. Stress can affect our sleep, our diet, bloating, gut health, energy, mood. All these things can affect our sleep. And our sleep is so important because it's when our body rests and repairs. So if we don't have that time where our body is in that rest and repair, what's it going to do to the next day? We're going to have no energy. We're going to be in a bad mood. We're going to make the wrong food choices. We're not going to want to exercise, and we're not going to want to focus on ourselves. So, making sure I prioritize sleep. I think I'm addicted to sleep. I'm a sleep junkie. I love sleep. So make sure you've got those bedtime rituals. So maybe it's a bath, maybe it's just calm music, or putting a candle on, or whatever. These things are really doable, and prepare your body, prepare your room to sleep. I love getting into bed with fresh sheets and a little sort of the window open, and just some calm lighting, and that really helps me getting into a sleep mode. And if you are somebody who's really stressed and can't switch off, get your book out, write those 5 things down, close that book, park it away, and then give yourself permission to go to sleep. Again, I could talk for hours on all of these things. I know we're running out of time. I think, the last thing I'm going to say is, let's thrive. Let's not just survive. Let's not just crawl our way through midlife. Let's focus on these 5 key things. And by doing that, we will maintain our health and well-being. Thank you so much.
Oh, amazing. I will just share that, anybody who knows me will know that I have been a really bad sleeper, and there's a big story behind that. And I've even written a blog about it. And I've got a huge amount going on in my life at the moment, not only building this business, but personal stuff, which is quite big. And I often wake up in the middle of the night about 3 o'clock and go, oh my God, I can't cope. And I have found it unbelievably transformational for my sleep, that I literally pick up my phone, which is turned off by my side, and I just write a note at 3 a.m. And I always start by saying, oh God, it's 2:56 or it's 4:24. And I journal what's on my mind. And it's always dark thoughts, and it's always overwhelm, and I can't cope. And then once I've written them all down, I then come into a happier place. So I often say, oh, well, I've got this, or I'm doing this. And I go back to sleep, ladies.
Yeah,
and
it does actually work.
Utterly transformational for me, where people always know, my mates know, they go, Juliet, you're not a good sleeper. Well, I am a pretty good sleeper, and it's been the journaling that has transformed my sleep.
There you go.
There you go.
Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap it up?
What's the one thing that you'd love to ask Katie or share that we can all help?
If I can't answer it now, obviously I will come back.
Anybody got anything that's been?
I've just seen also warm water with a tiny slice of lemon is really good for you. I start the day every single day with a warm, not boiling hot, slice of lemon and hot water. And also you can put slices of ginger in there, because ginger is obviously anti-inflammatory and it's got loads of amazing nutrients in there. So you could just start the day, and that helps stimulate your gut and it starts that hydration process. So I would always recommend having hot teas, hot lemons, hot gingers, whatever it is. And also just, you know, you can, if you're not somebody who drinks water, you can pimp up your water with all sorts of different things. So yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
Well, is everybody going to commit to doing something today? Their protein at lunchtime, or going out
yes,
doing their steps, exercise. I hope you've all found this. I think it's inspirational. Katie, you're so passionate about what you do, and you're so knowledgeable. And it is all about the interaction of all these. Luciana's going shopping. That's good. I hope
there
you
you
find
go.
Nice.
I think the other thing, actually, don't wing it, because if you try and wing it, it often it's difficult to sort of get this balance. So if you plan your you know, enjoy writing that shopping list, enjoy planning your meals, and as I said, celebrate with food, celebrate with all these things, because life, we've got to enjoy life, haven't we?
Oh,
thank you so much, everyone.
You're getting lots of fantastics. If you want to get we'll send out the recording, and Katie's notes are, her contact details are all there. But as I have been the beneficiary of having, you know, Katie is, I've been a client of Katie's. I think she's absolutely phenomenal, and she's very, very knowledgeable. So ladies, go out there and celebrate your bodies this weekend. Sleep well, eat well, and sleep well.
Have some fun.
Have some fun, because life
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.